Now, you may know my guest today as the son of a popular Nigerian pastor. Others know him as one of the finest Nollywood actors. Fans like myself, of course, know him as both. Today on the E-Exclusive, we'll be talking with Nigerian actor, singer, and of course, motivational speaker, Jimmy Odukoya. How are you doing?
Very, very cool introduction. Oh.
I mean, it's the truth, right?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, let's start from, of course, the reason we're here and walk you back a little bit.
Yes.
You were part of the Woman King cast.
Yes.
How did you feel when you got the call?
Crazy story. Truth be told, I didn't know anything about the movie. I didn't. As a matter of fact, I got a DM. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the story.
Okay.
Minding my business, I get a DM about some international project shooting in South Africa if I'd be available to shoot for 4 or 5 months. And I was like, 4 or 5 months. Now, in my Nigerian mentality, the first thing I asked is, that's a long time. Can you afford to keep me for 4 or 5 months?
Okay.
You know, and they're like, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Cool. So they sent me some sides, 3 different characters. They said, pick 2. One was a general, one was a general's lieutenant who was young. I'm like, oh, he's young and edgy. I like him. I'm gonna do that one.
Okay.
So did the read in Adini Jones. They had shortlisted about, apparently what had happened was they had gone to 5 different countries trying to fill my role.
Wow.
And they couldn't find a character. So somebody in SA reached out to a contact in Nigeria saying, listen, do you happen to know any dark-skinned muscular actors who can act? And so she put down a list of people and then sent it out to different people.
Right.
So I was one of the people that she sent it to. So went in, did the read, read for the 30-year-old edgy lieutenant.
Right.
And then they just said, she said, just do the general as well. I'm like, yeah, but age description says it's 50. And they're like, yeah, just do it. I'm like, so I did it. And the next day they asked me to send in headshots and a resume. I'm like, Nollywood doesn't ask you for headshots and resume.
Wow.
They're pretty much, and as God would have it, all through lockdown, I sat down and compiled my resume of all the movies I'd done. And in April, I was doing a photo shoot with my friend, and he just said, "Let's take headshots." And I said, "What for?" He said, "You might never, you never know. You need it." I was like, "Okay, whatever." So he didn't edit it, so I just had it. I'm like, "Wait, I think I have some raw." So I found the raw stuff, tried to go send my resume, and then my computer crashed. And luckily for me, I had a PDF, so I was going to update like 40 more movies I'd done that year to show them I'd been working.
Right.
But I couldn't update, so I just sent what I had, whatever. And then 2 weeks go by, don't hear anything. I get a call back to come do a callback. I'm like, okay, for what character? They said the general. I'm like, but he's 50.
Wow.
And they said they'll age you. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So do it, send it in. Still had no idea what the project was because everybody had signed an NDA, so no one told me anything. And still waiting, but I started reading up on Dahomey, because like, this is interesting, because from the dialogue, I could piece some things together. And then I'd gone to do a concept shoot for a friend of mine, and I got back home about 5:30 in the morning, and John Boyega posted a post about being excited to join the cast of The Woman King as King Gezo. I'm like, King Gezo? I know this name. And then I go click on his page, and I go on Viola's page, and then I see Naniska. I'm like, wait. My knees went out. I'm like, no, there's no way, right? I literally, first it's like 5:30, I run up, wake the missus up, like, yo, I think, because no one, I'm like, I think, I'm like, wait. I go back down, get on my knees, I'm like, Lord, all right. As you've shown it to me, you're going to give it to me. Because the way he revealed it, and I just started praying, I'm like, listen, Lord, you started something, you're going to complete it. And sure enough, you know, I called the person that had reached out to me, like, I think I know the project. And she's like, I can't say anything because I've signed an NDA, but let's just pray. And I was like, yo, Lord, I started praying, kabashing in the corner of my room, according to scripture. I said, Lord, you know. And then a week went by. Then they said they wanted me to do a interview with the director on Zoom. Oh, no, they asked if I could fly out to SA. And I was like, oh, you know what, let's just do a Zoom interview. I'm like, cool. Told them, put the generator on. Do not turn it off for anything, because you know Nigeria can like to, you know, embarrass you. Like, nope, Nepa, put the gen on, not today, right? In the name of Jesus, right? So we do the interview, and it was quite surreal because she was the one that did Love and Basketball, Old Guard, and you know, she's like having me read again, and there's like a black screen, I don't know who's there, and then they have a lot of people on the Zoom, the casting director, the stunts coordinator, everybody is on, and I'm having to do the scenes again for her. And then after, she's like, all right, cool. So let's talk. She's like, okay, you're gonna be playing alongside Viola Davis. How do you feel about that?
Wow.
And I'm like, you know what, listen, I've been preparing for this role my whole life, right? And you know, at the end of the day, when you play alongside the best, you have to be the best. best. And so I've been prepping, I've been gymming, I've been mentally ready for this. And so put me in, coach, let's play, I'm ready. And she's like, okay. She's like, well, I like you. If it's up to me, I'll cast you, but Sony has the final say. So let's see what they say. I went back to Kabashian, like, all right, Lord, you have brought me this far to bring me this far. You know, anywhere they mention my name, favor must speak for me, right? And that was my prayer. And then I got a message a week later, like, you got it.
Wow.
And I'm like, it was the most surreal thing, because all through that year I'd been saying I'm going to Hollywood. Everybody thought I was crazy. I'm like, listen, I'm going. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to Hollywood. And you know, just speaking it into the atmosphere and declaring, and here we are.
Wow.
That's a quick summary.
That was quick.
Very, you know.
Let's backtrack a little
Let's
bit.
backtrack.
You worked with the Viola Davis,
Yes.
right? How did that feel? Yeah, I mean, you talk a good game, right? I'm ready to do this. I prepared
You know,
my whole life. How was the experience?
So I get on set, and it was, I must say, first class treatment all the way from here to SA.
Wow.
So they take me on set, and I'm doing my stunts, and then like, okay, so you're gonna meet Viola now. I'm like, okay. And it's crazy because I loved her in How to Get Away with Murder. I watched it religiously, loved her in Fences. And so I'm walking towards her. I'm like, oh, I'm walking towards Viola Davis, right? And, you know, I meet her. I'm like, sorry, ma'am, I call you Viola freaking Davis, just so you know, because this, you know, such an honor. And first thing she said was, oh my God, this is who I have to fight, you know, because I was much bigger. She's like, oh, I was like, no, baby, you know. And then we just hit it off and had a conversation. It was quite surreal. You know, even today, I pinch myself that I have a relationship with her. Like, I could WhatsApp her and she WhatsApped me back. It's quite weird. And it's like, oh.
We're all jealous now.
You know, like, oh, you know, but it was such an amazing experience to work with her. Her work ethic is second to none. Like, she's achieved it all, but she's so driven. Like, the way she works, you would think she was new in the game. She pushes herself. She wants to be the best. We're doing physical stuff, and the times we're fighting and she'll flip me over. I'm looking at her like, how can you flip me like this? You know, but it was such an amazing experience to work alongside that kind of talent. Very humbling.
I mean, we're in a time where we see international companies want to invest in African stories.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Especially because, you know, we're Africans ourselves. Do you think we should be ahead of telling these stories, or should we welcome these collaborations, these investments?
A bit of both. You know, I want to say that definitely we should be the custodians of our own story, because these are our stories and no one can tell our stories better than us. But at the same time, looking at the reality of executing it on the scale that it needs to be done, the infrastructure required. I mean, this project was, you know, there were so many moving parts, so many things happening at the same time. They had about 1,000 crew.
Wow.
On production, right? And so what it takes, the length of time, the quality and the execution. So I would say that we should welcome collaboration, you know, where they could bring the structure, but we're also very intentional about how our stories are told and portrayed.
I mean, now we can call you what? Hollywood's Jimmy Odukoya?
Hey, you know, I just say we're in the woods, but we just switched woods from Nolly to Holly. You know, we just kind of moved on. But
so where'd you want to be? Do you want to switch really?
Listen? I'm just gonna say, like, you know, for me, the more opportunities come. I mean, this has opened a lot of doors for me. So definitely auditioning for bigger projects, agent, manager. So, you know, work has taken me more international. But, you know, I mean, I can never forget Nollywood is where I started, you know. So I'll always be Nollywood. Right.
I'm super curious because you have like 2 degrees in business. At what point did you decide that you were going to act?
Do you know what? Yeah, that's a very good question, because I didn't know I was going to act either.
Wow.
So I came back in 2010 and got into consulting. I was a consultant in Accenture for about a year, and then went into oil and gas for about 2 years.
Wow.
And then went into corporate trainings, teaching innovation, leadership, and management for corporate. So I had different banks as my client. And then one day they were shooting a movie at church, and, you know, Desmond was part of it. So Desmond and some people on the French Hall, they're like, we're shooting this movie in church. I'm like, guys, you should put me in the movie. I can act. Like, really? I'm like, yeah, I've done some acting in the States, some stage productions. I'm like, just give me a role. And then they gave me this little cute, this really goody two-shoes guy. I'm like, no, guys, give me something. I want to act. And so there was some guy who was a drug dealer that was a supporting lead. I had no idea what that meant. And I was like, all right, yeah, I could do it. So, you know, I was playing the role and I had to play alongside Desmond. Desmond's like, yo, you're really good. You should really consider acting. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, I'll tell you what. if anything comes up and I'm available, because I was working for myself doing the training, I'm like, let me know and I'll come do it. And two things came up. I went to shoot a movie with him, and then met Mary Remy on the set, and she's like, "You're good. Give me your number." Then she called him to the office. She put me on the show, and then I'm like, okay. And then people kept calling me. I'm like, wait, people calling me a lot. Oh, I get paid for this too. Oh, okay. And yeah, got very busy. Started getting more money than I was when I was working corporate. I'm like, oh, bet, you know. And that was 6 years ago. And 2016, yeah, about. And here we are today.
Wow. I mean, you're a pastor's kid.
Yes.
Did you have to convince your parents about acting?
What?
Was that?
It was interesting because obviously, if you looked at the trajectory of my life, I was very academic. You know, so especially in Nigeria, if you're book smart, a lot of people, if you're more creative, they'll more push you towards creativity. But if you're academically smart, they push you towards, you know, sciences and all of that stuff. And the trajectory of my life for me, graduated top of my MBA class, consultant, you'd have thought that I'd be a 9 to 5, you know, shirt, suit and tie type guy. And so when this acting thing started, my dad's like, okay, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's more like a hobby on the side. And then it was taking more of my time, and he was like, okay, this thing is taking more time. I'm like, listen, you know, it's like, yeah, okay, you know, side eye. And then one time he asked me in 2018, I remember, I was like, how do you tell if you're making waves or what is the track record or the metrics to say you're doing well? I'm like, that's a good question because I don't know. And I went downstairs and then put on the TV for the MVCAs, and I got nominated in 2018. I'm like, oh wait, Dad, I think this is how you know I got nominated. You know, I've been barely there for, you know, for 2 years. I'm getting nominated, and you know, and so the more I did, it was first a bit of a struggle, but he actually came to respect it, because at the end of the day, if I'm taking care of business, handling my own, taking care of my family, doing what needs to be done, they might question the process, but they can't deny the results, right? And so it's like, all right, okay, you know, we watching you, okay. So it went from to calling me and saying, are you on set? Because every time I was on set, you know. And so he's been very supportive, you know. I mean, I tell everybody, no one could be my father but my father, because, you know, I'm not your typical in many ways, you know, but I've just been blessed to have a supportive structure and family system.
All right, now finally, I'm sure that must have been precious, of course, growing up as a pastor's son. Absolutely. And then, of course, how has that influenced, you know, your acting roles, especially with the characters that you take? Words on the streets is you don't take movies with kissing scenes. So, what?
Well, it started that way, and it's quite interesting because for me, a lot of people expect, because, you know, from my family background and my faith and who I am in ministry, they expect that I only play good roles. And I'm like, why? You know, without evil, you can't appreciate good. You know, they're the two sides to every coin. So if there's no bad, then good is. If there's no hate, there's no love. They're like the yin and yang. You know, and for me, how I pick my roles is I ask the general question is, what is the moral of the story? Does it align with my worldview? If good trumps evil, and I could play the evil character to show that evil isn't the right way to go so that people can learn, then I'm happy to do it because it supports my worldview. I'd never play a character where I believe is celebrating or pushing an evil narrative where bad trumps good. Good must always trump evil, you know? And so when you're in those roles where you can play those characters and people can watch and learn, so from decisions that my character might have taken or actions that he took and said, this is not the path to go, then I'm happy to do it, you know? And so a lot of people find me controversial because, you know, I have done, I started off saying I was going to kiss, and then I had a conversation with my dad. I'm like, Dad, I need to figure this thing out because for authenticity, you know, when you're trying to be true to your craft, if I'm playing a newlywed couple, I'm not going to be pecking my wife. It's not realistic, and it hinders your creative process. If I'm playing a married man, I remember when I first started, I was a married man in bed with his wife, and he wanted to have sex with his wife. And she's on that side, I'm on this side. This whole thing was weird. The people around me, and I was trying to show her, you know, let her know that I was ready for sex. And I did this. I was like, babe. I'm like, yeah, because, you know, for me, get over the hiccup of you're in a bed with a woman. How you gonna do this? But that's not authentic, right? Because then when you're thinking of all these things, and so I had a conversation with him, and it was a very good conversation. And so a lot of people were like, well, but you're a pastor's kid, you shouldn't do A, B, and C. I'm like, listen, if you can tell I'm acting as an actor, then I failed. If you can tell but if you actually believe I am who I portray you to be, then I am not acting as an actor. I am being. I am bringing a character to life. I've done my job right. So growing up has given me a thick skin. People might not always agree with me, but that's okay. I owe everybody nothing but love, mutual respect, and we keep it moving.
Okay, actor, singer, motivational speaker. It's weird, but the most asked question on Google about you is, are you a pastor? That's how I'm going to wrap up this interview. Are you?
Listen, I am. It's very hard to, because people's ideology is like, you don't look like, I'm like, what does a pastor look like? Because beards, hair, tattoos, everything. I'm just, if they're right, I'm left, but, I believe, I didn't know that would be, but when God has a call for you, he doesn't let go until you fulfill his purpose. And, but I think this phase of my life, while I was here, I was definitely juggling both of them, but yeah, so I am. Believe it or not.
All right, thank you so much for your
you so
time.
much.
You heard it first here, of course, on New Central Television. The man does it all, honestly, at this point. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We appreciate it. Every day, we're seeing great African actors be a part of telling our rich African stories across the continent and, of course, the entire globe. I do believe that, of course, you have a part to play. All you have to do, of course, is use your platforms, your story, your voice, in being authentic and being true. That's how we truly are Africans. And my name, of course, is Sam Dandy. You're watching New Central Television.